Commander Sarah Chen stood in the observation deck of Luna Base, watching Earth's sunset paint the orbital shipyards in golden light. Below her, looking like little more than a derelict hulk, floated humanity's greatest deception, the warship Phoenix. "Status report," she commanded, not turning from the view. The floating holographic displays around her cast a soft blue glow across her features, reflecting off the numerous battle scars that marked her face, reminders of humanity's first, disastrous contact with the Galactic Alliance 15 years ago. "Final calibrations are complete, Commander," replied Dr. Marcus Rivera, his dark eyes gleaming with barely contained excitement. "The quantum fold drives are masked perfectly. As far as any Alliance scan can tell, we're running on primitive fusion engines." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Phoenix represented 5 years of secret development, a project born from the ashes of humanity's humiliation at first contact. The Alliance had dismissed Earth as a quaint civilization playing with rockets, offering them minor trading rights and patronizing technological assistance. They never bothered to look closer, never questioned why humanity accepted their scraps with such apparent gratitude, never wondered about the unusual mineral shipments or the power fluctuations in the asteroid belt. "Show me the cloak readings," Sarah ordered, finally turning to face her crew. The command center hummed with quiet efficiency, dozens of Earth's brightest minds monitoring systems that officially didn't exist. Dr. Rivera gestured, and new holograms sprang to life. "The outer hull's metamaterials are functioning perfectly. Alliance scanners will see exactly what we want them to see: corroded plates, inefficient power distribution, minimal weapons. The perfect picture of a struggling species' first attempt at a proper warship." Lieutenant Jessica Patel spoke up from her station, her fingers dancing across control surfaces. "Latest intelligence from our embedded agents confirms the Alliance military exhibition will proceed as scheduled. 300 ships from 50 species, all gathering to showcase their latest technologies." She paused, grinning. "They've assigned us a spot in the Developing Civilizations section." Sarah moved to the central tactical display, studying the Phoenix's true capabilities. Beneath its deliberately weathered exterior lay the most advanced warship humanity had ever created. Quantum computers that made Alliance I look primitive, weapons that bent space itself, defensive systems that could shrug off a small sun going nova. "Dr. Rivera, begin final crew orientation," she commanded. "I want everyone absolutely perfect on maintaining our facade. One slip, one hint of our true capabilities, and the entire operation fails." "Already underway, Commander." "The crew knows their roles. We've even programmed subtle irregularities into our power signature to suggest poor maintenance." Sarah nodded, then addressed the entire command center. "In 72 hours, we launch for the exhibition. The Alliance expects to see humanity's pathetic attempt at matching their technological might. They expect to laugh, to pat us on the head, to offer us more of their generous assistance." She paused, letting her gaze meet each crew member's eyes. "Instead, they're going to learn that humanity has surpassed them in ways they can't imagine. But timing is everything. We maintain our act until the exact right moment. Until then, we're exactly what they expect: simple, struggling humans playing with technology we barely understand." The next 2 days passed in a blur of final preparations. Sarah spent hours reviewing intelligence reports, studying the expected Alliance representatives. The Varaxians would be there with their energy weapons that were considered the galaxy's finest. The Threll Collective would showcase their organic computing systems. The Caraxis Empire would demonstrate their feared planet cracker bombs. All of them would be watching the primitive humans with amusement or pity. "Final systems check complete," Dr. Rivera reported on launch morning. "All masking systems are functioning perfectly. As far as the Alliance is concerned, we're basically flying a fusion-powered bathtub with delusions of grandeur." Sarah took her command position, surrounded by deliberately crude-looking controls that hid quantum interfaces. "Communications, send our departure message to Alliance Control. Make sure to include those power fluctuations we discussed." "Sending now, Commander," Lieutenant Patel replied, adding in that slight interference pattern to suggest our transmitters are barely functioning. The Phoenix lifted from its berth with a deliberately ungraceful wobble, a masterpiece of careful engineering to appear clumsy. As they moved past the lunar orbital stations, Sarah watched Alliance sensors probe their ship with barely disguised contempt. Let them look, she thought. Let them scan every inch of our primitive vessel. Let them prepare their condescending speeches about how humanity should keep trying, how we'll join the galactic community properly someday. The Phoenix cleared lunar orbit, its hidden systems purring with power that no Alliance race would believe possible from primitive humanity. As they aligned for their first faster-than-light jump, Sarah allowed herself another small smile. In 1 week, the galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again. But for now, they had a role to play. The deception had begun. All hands, she announced shipwide, maintain operational protocols. Remember your training. We are exactly what they expect us to be. Until we're not. The Phoenix limped toward its destiny, a wolf in sheep's clothing, carrying humanity's greatest secret into the heart of an unsuspecting galaxy. The Alliance Exhibition Stadium hung in space like a massive crystalline flower, its translucent petals housing the greatest collection of military technology in known space. The Phoenix approached at sublight speed, its engines deliberately sputtering in a way that made Sarah's teeth clench. Another scan incoming, Lieutenant Patel announced, suppressing a smile. The Varaxian delegation this time. They're being thorough. Let me guess, Sarah replied. They're particularly interested in our outdated reactor core. Actually, Commander, they seem fascinated by our hull patches. Their communications channel is full of chatter about how we're using primitive titanium alloys. Patel's fingers danced across her console, maintaining the elaborate deception. They're debating whether to offer us basic metallurgy assistance. Dr. Rivera's voice came through the command channel, carefully controlled but with an edge of amusement. Commander, you should see their scan patterns. They're not even bothering to look for quantum signatures or dimensional variances. As far as they're concerned, we couldn't possibly have anything more advanced than fusion power. Sarah watched through the main viewport as they were directed to their berth in the exhibition's outer ring, far from the prestigious central docks reserved for the advanced civilizations. The Phoenix's true sensors, hidden beneath layers of quantum masking, picked up everything. Every condescending comment, every dismissive scan, every pitying look from the alien crews they passed. Docking control is suggesting we use their auxiliary guidance system, Patel reported. They're concerned about our apparent lack of precision thrusters. Accept their help, Sarah ordered, keeping her voice level. Remember, we're grateful for any assistance these advanced races deign to give us. The Phoenix shuddered slightly as the exhibition's tractor beams took hold, guiding them into their assigned spot between a Centaurian merchant vessel and what appeared to be a Meridian garbage scow. The symbolism wasn't subtle. All hands, maintain protocol. Sarah broadcast shipwide. We're about to receive our first visitors. Everyone remembers their roles. The crew's responses came back crisp and professional. They'd practiced this moment countless times. Every crew member knew exactly how to appear just competent enough to be trusted with simple technology, but not so capable as to raise suspicions. The first delegation arrived within minutes of their docking. A group of Varaxian technical specialists, their crystalline bodies refracting light as they moved. Their leader, distinguished engineer Zixpal, made no attempt to hide their scanner arrays as they studied the Phoenix's exterior. Fascinating primitive construction, Zixpal announced, their translation matrix not quite hiding the condescension in their harmonic voice. We had not realized humans were still using mechanical welding techniques, most impressive for your level of development. Sarah bowed slightly, exactly as protocol demanded. We're honored by your interest, distinguished engineer. Would you care for a tour of our vessel? Though I should warn you, we're still learning how to properly maintain many of our systems. The Varaxians' crystalline features shifted in what passed for their species' expression of benevolent superiority. "We would be delighted to observe your efforts, Commander Chen. Perhaps we can offer some basic suggestions for improvement." As they led the delegation through the Phoenix's corridors, Sarah watched their reactions carefully. The Varaxians examined everything, occasionally making notes or sharing knowing looks. They completely missed the quantum field generators hidden behind deliberately crude-looking power conduits. They didn't even glance at the dimensional stabilizers disguised as structural support beams. "Your primary computer systems," Zixval observed, studying the Phoenix's apparent main computer core. "They appear to be based on silicon processors." "How? Traditional. Have you considered the benefits of crystalline computing?" Dr. Rivera managed to look both eager and slightly confused. "Crystalline computing. That sounds fascinating. We've only recently managed to develop quantum processing at a basic level. Would you be willing to share some insights into your superior technology?" The Varaxian delegation spent the next hour explaining basic computational principles that humanity had surpassed decades ago. Sarah and her crew listened attentively, asking carefully crafted questions that reinforced their image as struggling but earnest students of real technology. After the Varaxians left, promising to send some educational materials about proper starship construction, Sarah retreated to her ready room. She activated the quantum privacy field, disguised as simple sound dampening, and allowed herself a moment of pure satisfaction. "Status report," she subvocalized, activating her neural link to the ship's true systems. "All deceptions holding perfectly." The Phoenix's quantum AI responded silently. "The Varaxian scans never penetrated past our first layer of camouflage. They're currently reporting to the exhibition committee that we represent an admirable first attempt at modern starship construction by an emerging species." Sarah smiled. Phase 1 was complete. They'd established themselves as exactly what the Alliance expected to see. Tomorrow, the exhibition's official ceremonies would begin. Hundreds of alien races would showcase their most advanced military technology, each trying to outdo the other. And humanity would watch and wait, playing their role of the grateful, primitive species, until the moment came to show the galaxy that appearances could be deceiving. "Send to all hands," Sarah ordered. Phase 1 completed successfully. Maintain protocols. Tomorrow, we start giving them a show they'll never forget. The Phoenix rested in its outer dock, looking for all the world like exactly what everyone expected: a primitive attempt at a warship by a species barely out of its gravity well. If anyone had bothered to look closer, to really examine what sat before them, they might have noticed something odd about how the shadows fell across its hull, or how space itself seemed to bend slightly around its edges. But no one looked closer. After all, they were only humans. The exhibition's main amphitheater could have housed a small moon. Holographic displays hundreds of meters tall showcased the latest military achievements of 50 advanced civilizations. The Phoenix's demonstration slot was scheduled last. A gesture the Alliance Committee probably thought was polite, giving the primitive humans a chance to present after learning from their betters. Sarah sat in the observer's gallery, maintaining a carefully neutral expression as the Caraxus Empire demonstrated their new planet cracker weapon system on a designated asteroid. The resulting explosion briefly outshone the local star. "Most impressive," murmured Ambassador Lixven of the Threll Collective, seated beside her. "Though perhaps such demonstrations are overwhelming for your species, we understand humans are still adapting to space warfare concepts." "It's certainly educational," Sarah replied, letting just the right amount of awe color her voice. In her hidden neural link, the Phoenix's quantum AI was analyzing the planet cracker's weaknesses, 3 critical design flaws that would render it useless against proper quantum shielding. Dr. Rivera's voice whispered through her subcutaneous communicator. "Commander, the Varaxians are scanning us again. They seem concerned about our reactor's unstable signature." "Right on schedule," Sarah subvocalized. The Phoenix's carefully programmed power fluctuations were working perfectly. suggesting a struggling fusion core barely keeping the ship operational. Maintain current protocols. How long until the main event? 4 hours. The Meridian Confederation is about to demonstrate their new flagship. After that, we're the last presentation of the day. The Meridian demonstration was suitably spectacular. Their organic hybrid battleship sprouting weapon arrays like blooming flowers. Sarah noted how every species in the amphitheater leaned forward, studying the display intently. Nobody paid attention to the quiet adjustments being made to the Phoenix's systems, hidden behind its facade of primitive technology. A remarkable achievement, announced High Admiral Zex Kor of the Caraxes Empire after the Meridian demonstration concluded. The perfect fusion of organic and mechanical warfare systems. Though perhaps we should explain the principles involved for our less advanced colleagues. He glanced meaningfully at the human delegation. Sarah smiled, channeling decades of diplomatic training. We would be honored to learn from your expertise, High Admiral. Though I hope you'll still find time to observe our small demonstration. Of course, Zex Kor replied magnanimously. We always encourage developing species to participate. It helps set proper expectations for future development. The next 3 hours passed slowly, filled with increasingly elaborate weapons demonstrations. Sarah noticed how each species tried to subtly one-up the others. Bigger explosions, more complex targeting systems, more advanced AI controls. None of them bothered to mask their critical systems from scanning, confident in their technological superiority. Finally, the announcement came. Concluding today's demonstrations, a presentation from the Human Systems Alliance vessel Phoenix. Sarah stood, bowing respectfully to the assembled dignitaries. You honor us with your attention. Though I should warn you, our demonstration may be less dramatic than what you're accustomed to. She made her way to the Phoenix's command center, where her crew waited at their stations. Every person there had been chosen not just for their technical skills, but for their acting abilities. For months, they'd practiced appearing just competent enough to be trusted with basic technology. Status report, she ordered, settling into her command chair. All systems nominal, Dr. Rivera replied, his hands moving across deliberately crude-looking controls that masked quantum interfaces. Though our reactor is showing some concerning fluctuations, he winked slightly. Shouldn't be a problem for a simple demonstration, Sarah announced, knowing her words were being broadcast to the exhibition's observation galleries. Let's show them what humanity can do. The Phoenix undocked gracelessly, its movement suggesting struggling maneuvering thrusters. Sarah could practically feel the pitying looks from the alien observers as they moved to the demonstration zone. Begin primary demonstration sequence, she ordered. The Phoenix's apparent weapons, simple laser arrays and kinetic launchers, powered up slowly, targeting the provided test drones. Their shooting was deliberate, just accurate enough to show promise, but with clear room for improvement. Most basic targeting systems, she heard one alien observer comment, though the accuracy is acceptable for their technological level. Lieutenant Patel's voice came through the command channel. Commander, long-range sensors are picking up something odd at the edge of the system. Multiple signatures, moving fast. Sarah kept her expression neutral even as her pulse quickened. Right on schedule. Exhibition control, she broadcast. We're detecting unusual readings. Should we abort the demonstration? Before control could respond, space itself seemed to tear open at the system's edge. 7 ships emerged, their designs unmistakably belonging to the Nexus pirates, the most feared raiders in this sector of space. Panic erupted in the observation galleries as the pirate ships accelerated toward the exhibition station. The advanced alien vessels scrambled to power up their weapons, their crews confident in their superior technology. Nobody noticed the subtle changes beginning to ripple across the Phoenix's hull, or the way space itself seemed to bend slightly around its edges. The real demonstration was about to begin. Chaos erupted across the exhibition station as the pirate fleet approached. The supposedly fearsome warships of the Alliance races scrambled into defensive formations, their crews rushing to battle stations. Warning sirens echoed through the crystalline structure, accompanied by frantic communications. This is High Admiral Zek's Corps. All vessels, combat positions. Protect the exhibition station. The Caraxes commander's voice carried both authority and barely concealed fear. Everyone knew the Nexus pirates' reputation for leaving nothing but wreckage in their wake. Sarah watched the panic unfold with calculated calm. Exhibition control. This is Phoenix. Should we withdraw to a safe distance? Our systems may not be adequate for this situation. Fall back, Phoenix, came the immediate reply, dripping with condescension even in crisis. Your vessel wouldn't last seconds against Nexus weaponry. Leave this to the advanced combat ships. Acknowledged control. Will just. Sarah paused as the first pirate salvo streaked across space, their advanced plasma weapons easily overwhelming the exhibition's outer defensive screens. Lieutenant Patel, plot us a retreat vector. The Phoenix began a clumsy turn, its movements still suggesting struggling maneuvering systems. On the quantum-encrypted command channel, Sarah's orders were very different. Begin transformation sequence. Time to show them what humanity has been hiding. The first signs were subtle. Shadows across the Phoenix's hull began to shift in impossible ways. Sensor readings flickered, as if reality itself was having trouble focusing on the ship. Then the change accelerated. The Phoenix's seemingly crude outer hull rippled like liquid mercury. Layers of quantum-engineered metamaterials that had masked the ship's true nature for days began to reconfigure. The battered, primitive-looking vessel transformed before the stunned eyes of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations. Sleek, dark armor plates emerged from what had appeared to be corroded metal. Weapon ports materialized where there had been seeming structural flaws. The entire ship grew longer, more angular, its true form finally revealed. A predator awakening from hibernation. By the eternal stars. Someone breathed over the open channel. What are we seeing? Phoenix, what is happening to your vessel? Exhibition control demanded. Our sensors are. This is impossible. Sarah allowed herself a genuine smile as she broadcast on all frequencies. This is Commander Chen of the Earth warship Phoenix. We appreciate your hospitality, but I believe it's time we showed you what humanity is truly capable of. She nodded to Dr. Rivera. Power up all systems. No more hiding. The Phoenix's quantum core, no longer masked by fake power signatures, surged to full capacity. Energy readings that should have been impossible for primitive humans cascaded across Alliance scanning systems. Weapon arrays that defied known physics emerged from hidden configurations. Multiple direct hits on exhibition station. Lieutenant Pottle reported as another pirate salvo struck home. Alliance vessels are taking heavy damage. Their defensive systems are failing. Then I suppose we should demonstrate some proper human hospitality, Sarah replied. Target the pirate fleet. Show them what real quantum weaponry can do. The Phoenix moved with liquid grace, all pretense of clumsiness gone. Its first shot, a concentrated burst of quantum-entangled plasma, bypassed the lead pirate ship shields as if they didn't exist, severing it neatly in two. The second and third shots followed milliseconds later, reducing two more pirate vessels to expanding clouds of debris. Impossible. High Admiral Zek's Corps' voice crackled over the command channel. Those weapons, that level of technology, humans can't possibly. Oh, but we can, Sarah replied calmly as the Phoenix danced through space, its movements guided by computational systems generations beyond anything the Alliance had dreamed possible. We've been able to for quite some time. We just didn't see any reason to show you. The remaining pirates, realizing they faced something far beyond their experience, attempted to flee. The Phoenix's quantum drive flared, putting the ship simultaneously at 4 different attack vectors through locally manipulated spacetime. 4 more precisely placed shots, and the threat was eliminated. Silence fell across all communication channels as the Phoenix returned to its original position, now in its true form, a masterpiece of engineering that made the Alliance's most advanced vessels look primitive by comparison. Perhaps, Sarah broadcast to the stunned silence. "We should restart the technology demonstration. I believe we have some actual innovations to share." She paused for effect. "Unless, of course, you still think we need basic engineering assistance." The exhibition's main amphitheater had fallen completely silent. Every alien race that had spent the past days patronizing humanity now stared at screens showing sensor readings that should have been impossible. The Phoenix hung in space before them, a black arrow of advanced technology that rewrote everything they thought they knew about human capabilities. "Commander," Dr. Rivera reported with barely suppressed glee, "we're receiving requests for communication from approximately 300 different vessels. Everyone wants to know everything." Sarah finished for him. "Yes, I expect they do." She stood from her command chair, addressing her crew. "Well done, everyone. The deception is over. Now comes the interesting part. Teaching the galaxy that humanity isn't what they thought we were. Not by a long shot." The Phoenix's quantum core hummed with power that defied conventional physics, its true nature finally unveiled to a galaxy that had underestimated humanity for the last time. In the hours following the Phoenix's revelation, the exhibition station buzzed with barely controlled chaos. The massive ceremonial hall, where aliens had proudly displayed their military might just hours before, now hosted an emergency session of the Alliance Security Council. Sarah stood calmly at the center of the storm. "Explain," demanded Supreme Counselor Vexnar of the Caraxes Empire, his metallic scales reflecting the chamber's light. "How long has humanity possessed this level of technology? Why the deception?" Sarah let the question hang in the air for a moment, her gaze sweeping across the assembled dignitaries. Every species that had dismissed humanity as primitive now waited for her response with barely concealed anxiety. "Tell me, Supreme Counselor," she replied evenly, "when your ships first arrived in our solar system 15 years ago, did anyone bother to ask what humanity was capable of? Or did you simply assume we were primitive because we didn't match your technological aesthetic?" The Varaxian delegation shifted uncomfortably, their crystalline forms refracting light in patterns that indicated distress. Distinguished Engineer Zixpal spoke up. "But our scans, your development trajectory, everything indicated a species barely achieving basic spaceflight." Dr. Rivera stepped forward, holding up a small device that immediately captured every alien sensor in the room. "You saw exactly what we wanted you to see. Humanity learned long ago that true advancement isn't about showing off. It's about understanding." He activated the device, projecting a hologram that showed the Phoenix's transformation in detail. "While you were perfecting ways to make bigger explosions, we were studying the fundamental nature of reality itself. While you built bigger ships, we learned to bend space. While you developed stronger shields, we figured out how to simply step around them." The pirate attack, High Admiral Zexcor growled suddenly. "It was staged, wasn't it?" Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Let's just say those particular pirates won't be troubling anyone again. They served their purpose, demonstrating that all your impressive technology, all your advanced weapons, meant nothing against what humanity has actually achieved." The room erupted in overlapping questions and demands. Sarah raised her hand for silence, and to everyone's surprise, she got it. "Humanity has no interest in dominance or conquest," she announced. "What we want is respect. Real respect, not the patronizing tolerance you've shown us until now. We kept our capabilities hidden because we wanted to understand what kind of neighbors we were dealing with." Lieutenant Pottle entered the chamber, bringing updated sensor readings from the Phoenix. The ship now hung in space like a dark promise, its true form visible to all. Dozens of Alliance vessels had spent hours scanning it, each scan revealing new impossibilities. "The Phoenix isn't even our most advanced ship," Sarah continued, enjoying the ripple of shock that passed through the chamber. "It's simply the one we chose to reveal. Earth has an entire fleet of vessels that make this one look primitive. We've had them for years. Why reveal this now?" asked Ambassador Lixven of the Thrall Collective, their neural tendrils writhing with agitation. Because it was time. Sarah replied simply. Time for the galaxy to understand that humanity isn't what you thought we were. We're not children playing with technology we barely understand. We're not a primitive species needing guidance. We are your equals. In many ways, your superiors. She gestured, and Dr. Rivera activated another hologram. This one showing technical specifications that made several alien engineers gasp audibly. We're prepared to share some of our advances, Sarah announced. Not all. We're not foolish, but enough to demonstrate our goodwill. In return, we expect full membership in the Alliance. Not as a developing species, but as a full partner. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't just caught up to the galaxy's most advanced civilizations, they had surpassed them, all while maintaining a perfect facade of primitive development. The choice is yours, Sarah concluded. But remember, now you know what humanity is truly capable of. The age of underestimating us is over. As if to emphasize her point, the Phoenix performed a maneuver outside the station that briefly bent local space-time into a pretzel, achieving something the Alliance's best scientists had declared impossible. Supreme Counselor Vexnar stood slowly, his expression unreadable. It seems, he said carefully, that the Alliance has much to learn about the true nature of progress. Commander Chen, humanity's application for full Alliance membership will be approved immediately. Sarah nodded graciously, but her next words carried steel beneath their diplomatic courtesy. Thank you, Supreme Counselor. Though I should mention, we weren't actually asking for permission. As she left the chamber with her team, Sarah could feel the shift in how the alien representatives watched her. Gone was the condescension, the patronizing tolerance. In its place was something new, respect tinged with fear. Back aboard the Phoenix, Sarah stood at the command center viewport, watching alien ships carefully maintain their distance from her vessel. Message from Earth Command, Lieutenant Puttle reported. Operation Silent Dawn is officially concluded. We're authorized to begin Phase 2. Excellent, Sarah replied, allowing herself a moment of satisfaction. Send to all hands. Well done, everyone. We've changed the galaxy today. Now comes the interesting part, teaching them what humanity can really do when we stop pretending to be less than we are. The Phoenix's quantum core pulsed with power that defied conventional physics, its true nature now known to a galaxy it would never underestimate humanity again. In the darkness of space, other ships like it waited, humanity's hidden fleet preparing to emerge from the shadows. The deception was over. The age of human ascendancy had begun.